Hello and welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. I'm at work again. Another dinner time video, last one of the year because it's New Year's Eve of course. Look what I've got. Yum yum yum. Pasta salad. Cheese pasta salad. Only the best for me. Alright. What else have I got here? The usual. Fruit. Oh, I've got this fucking thing as well. I don't know what this is. I've never had this before. Pro Milk chocolate protein shake. Chocolate. It's meant to be good for you. It's got chocolate in it. I'll go with that. All right. What are we talking about today? It's the last day of the year. So I thought I'd do one of those. It's not really a review of the year because, you know, it's just things that really spring to mind about 2021. Right. So where do we begin? Right. What do I remember about 2021 in boxing terms? Well, there was the obvious initial disappointment of Tyson Fury not fighting Anthony Joshua. This is when Joshua had the belt. And that went on and on and on and on. And Eddie Hearn reckoned he'd got everything in place, then suddenly arbitrations, legal issues said no, Wilder was entitled to a third fight against Fury. So they had their fight. Initially no one thought it would be any good, no one really wanted it, but it turned out to be an absolute proverbial barn burner. So that fight definitely sticks in the mind. However, we shouldn't forget that I think both guys came in too heavy. Fury had a lot of issues before the fight. His baby daughter was very, very ill. Touch and go whether she'd make it, but thankfully she did. He looked heavy on the scales. Wilder had put on a lot of mass, all on his upper body. His legs were as skinny as ever. He came in with a sort of basic game plan, did a lot of jabbing to the body. You saw the fight, you know what happened. Wilder was on the floor, got up, floored Fury twice. And although it was a grueling, absorbing war of attrition, nevertheless, for most of the fight, apart from when he was floored, I thought Fury was pretty much in charge, certainly in the later rounds. And of course he knocked Wilder out. Now, although both those guys fought way below the level of what they were capable of, especially Fury, that was a fight. That wasn't really a boxing match. It was a brawl, a barroom brawl, and hugely entertaining. And it will be remembered, rightly so. But the level of boxing, or the standard, was pretty low. But it was a great, great fight. But as great as it was, I wouldn't make it my fight of the year. For me, I would pick a fight that from the moment it started, right until the last moments, it was, for me personally, a classic because it combined everything that I love about boxing, have always loved about boxing. And that fight was George Kambosos against Teofimo Lopez. Now, I'm not just talking about the fight, I'm talking about the build-up, the whole story of Kambosos, when the fight was initially announced. Everybody thought it was just a gimme fight for Lopez. Lopez himself appeared to think it was a gimme fight because he predicted a one-round knockout. And no one gave Kambosos much of a chance. There were a few exceptions on YouTube. If you've ever watched Chris Andre boxing, he was giving Kambosos an outside chance. You must subscribe to Chris Andre's channel if you like boxing, because his breakdowns are absolutely superb. Far better than I could ever do. He's very, very knowledgeable, very intelligent guy, and he gave Kambosos a chance. I'm trying to think of other people, but he gave him an outside chance. I think he still made Lopez the favourite. I thought Lopez would walk it. I'm not going to lie, I really thought it'd be an easy fight for Lopez. I thought Kambosos might put up a fight, but I thought he'd get stopped in about 8 or 9 rounds. So, the backstory was, a huge underdog comes all the way from Australia, very proud of his heritage, both Australian and Greek heritage, has tattoos indicating that heritage, given no chance to win by anyone, and shocks the boxing world. Certainly shocked me. Not just because he won. This wasn't a case of him catching Lopez with a punch and flooring him and finishing him. He outboxed and outfought a guy who had beat Vasily Lomachenko. I say from start to finish, of course, Lopez did floor him in the 10th round. But his manner, the way that he conducted himself, the courage he showed, the skill he showed, which was far heavier than I ever expected or ever realised he had. For me, that fight was a real Rocky story. A real Rocky story. And for me, that was fight of the year, because it had everything. It was both a boxing match and a slugfest. And both guys at the end, especially Lopez, who looked absolutely appalling. His face was smashed up. Big gash across his eye. Interestingly, Kambosos was cut first. And he was beaten up, but he completely turned expectations of the boxing world on its head. Brilliant, brilliant performance by Kambosos. So for me, that's fight of the year. And Kambosos, to me, is the fighter of the year, even though that was his only fight. Other things that are worthy of mention. Well, Canelo Alvarez. Look, Canelo Alvarez unified the super middleweight division, and that's an achievement. And he appears to be a brilliant fighter. I'm probably going to lose subscribers over this, but I don't really give a fuck. I'm very, very suspicious of the whole Eddie Reynoso setup in terms of PEDs. We know we know Canelo has been tested positive for PEDs, got away with it, made up some excuse, tainted meat and all that crap. I don't believe it personally. I don't know for certain, I could be wrong. But the way he's grown into that division, the physique he has, it reminds me an awful lot of Manny Pacquiao when he first moved up to welterweight and established himself in the light welterweight divisions. Manuel Marquez as well was another one who went up to welter. Was it junior welter? His physique, it looks manufactured to me personally. So yes, Canelo unifying the division was an achievement, but I have my suspicions. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. And the fact that he is so naturally talented, if he is juiced himself up, to me makes it even worse. It's not like he's crap. He's really good. And if he is cheating, what could he say? Shame on him. What else? Whyte came back, knocked out Povetkin, got revenge. Still hasn't had his title shot now. I have mixed feelings about this because, although I'm pretty much on Whyte's side, he was offered that fight with AJ, the rematch, and turned it down. That was for £5 million. Should he have taken it? I'm not sure about how much time he had to prepare. if he was given enough time to prepare, if that was on the table, then he should have taken that, in my opinion. For some reason, Dillian is fixated with the WBC. I don't know why. He's self-managed, which to some extent has been a good thing, because he knows his worth and he's played pay-per-views and he's made lots of money. But if you're self-managed and you become fixated, your ego gets in the way, like he seems to be with the WBC. I find it strange. Surely a more logical option would have been to have kept all your options open. So I'm on his side. He should have had his title shot, no doubt. And the WBC has behaved in its usual disgraceful way. WBC, Mr. Maurizio Suleiman. Let's just say the apple doesn't fall very far from the tree, because his father, Jose Suleiman, was president of the WBC for God knows how long, until he died. And his relationship with Don King in the 80s and 90s was very, very questionable. They favoured the King fighters. The relationship was too close with the promoter. Now, we currently have a situation where WBC have now said, okay, an 80-20 split in favour of Tyson Fury, with Whyte being the mandatory contender, is acceptable. We will accept that. Why are they doing that? Because they're very close to. They want Fury. They side with Fury. Whyte has taken out some sort of legal case against the WBC. Didn't win him any fans there. Not going to do him any favours. So they're saying, yeah, 80-20 is fine. Well, you know, the rule says it should be 55-45, but we'll overlook that. It's shenanigans. It's the usual politicking. It's the usual ruling body bullshit. But there we are. Such is life. Now, what will probably happen, I think, I don't think that the fight will happen, actually. I think what will happen is probably Fury will either give up the belt, although I think the WBC don't want to lose Fury. So what they'll do is they'll make him champion emeritus, or whatever the fuck it is. Franchise champion, or some bullshit. And then they'll give Whyte the option of fighting for the vacant title. But I've never believed that Fury and Whyte will fight. Never. Fury picks and chooses. He's only ever made one defence of any titles he's won. And his resume isn't as thin as some people say. I mean, he's beaten Chisora twice, once by stoppage. He obviously beat Wilder pretty much 3 times. Like one of them was an undeserved draw for Wilder. And he went to Germany and beat Klitschko. So the guy, when he's on it, is probably the best heavyweight in the world. Certainly in the argument, obviously. But he's not interested in mandatories. So I don't think that will happen. But then I guess I'm talking about 2022, and I started this video talking about 2021. But yeah, that was disappointing that Dillian didn't get a shot. AJ lost to Usyk, of course, which was not entirely surprising. But his career, I did a video on this earlier this week, I think his career is in mental chaos. And I don't think he's ever really recovered from being knocked out by Ruiz. He almost got knocked out by Usyk. Hell of a beating he took in that last round. And although I initially said he should take the rematch, I didn't realise just how bad his mindset seems to be. I think he needs to strip everything down, take 6 months off, work with a new trainer. I think Robert McCracken, I've always felt, even before the Ruiz defeat, that Robert McCracken had taken AJ as far as he can go, got him up to a certain standard, but AJ needed to switch. So I've sort of revised my view. Circumstances change, so you change your mind, obviously. We should never get stuck in one thought. But disappointing year for AJ. Terence Crawford looked brilliant. And Nue looked brilliant. There were plenty of shocks. Warrington getting knocked out by the unknown Lara, who I think I'm right in saying still doesn't have a big promotional contract. I don't know why. And their rematch was curtailed because of the head clash. But in that opening round, Lara looked very ominous. Wouldn't surprise me if he'd have knocked out Warrington again. Another one that sticks in the mind, let me think now. Well, Crawford and Spence didn't happen. There's still that other side of the street nonsense going on, which is complete rubbish. PBC sort of consolidated itself as a bit of an in-house cult, almost like a UFC type model. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame that all this politics gets in the way of things. But overall, I would say 2021 was a good year. You see, I hear a lot of people saying boxing's not what it was, boxing's in a terrible state. No, it isn't. It really, really isn't. You're mistaken if you say that. Look, I'm an old so-and-so, older. I remember the days when there was just boxing on ITV occasionally, very occasionally, maybe BBC. You might get it at some leisure centre, but all the outlets you've got for boxing, all the different channels, you know, just on YouTube alone, you know, DAZN, BBC, Fight Zone, if you like the small stuff, all of this stuff. It's you've never had more access to boxing than you have now, and there are plenty of great fights that are made. So my advice is don't be so bloody negative. You know, appreciate what's there. Some fights don't get made. It's a pain in the arse. Politicking, I've just slagged off all the politicking. Yeah, I stand by that, but you know, there's lots of great fights out there. Look at the lighter guys, you know, Estrada, Chocolatito, and brilliant fights. Look at them. Is it Estrada and Chocolatito 3s coming up in the new year? There's stuff to look forward to. So don't be negative, be positive. So yeah, just a few thoughts about 2021. Leave yours down below in the comments section, and this ain't bad actually. It's cheese pasta salad. I've been chewing on this, it's all right. But yeah, look, I hope you had a great year. I really do. I know we got COVID and all this overreaction to all this bullshit about, you know, lockdowns and mask wearing, all this crap. And it's a pain in the arse. But I hope you had a good 2021. Thanks a lot for supporting this channel. Much love to all of you. This channel's only been going a few months, 2 or 3 months. 3 months, I think. But I've got 160 subscribers, and every one of you, I appreciate it. I really mean that. Spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. Let's get the channel up. Let's make it bigger. And if I've done videos and you don't agree with me, I've made comments that you don't like, you know, you're not my enemy. You know, we can disagree vehemently. Don't mean we're enemies. So thanks a lot for everything. Here's to 2022. Enjoy your New Year's Eve celebrations. I'm probably going to go out of bed early. I used to live in London. I'm from London, so I used to go to the fireworks, but they're not even on. And I don't live in London anymore anyway. I used to watch them on the telly. That's not happening, is it? But this is ridiculous, this whole overreaction to COVID. It drives me balmy. But anyway, that's a video for another day. So have fun. Here's to 2022. All the best to all of you. And I'll see you again sometime. Take care of yourselves, all right? See you later.